Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Comic Relief, the live weekly talk show for all things multiverse, Mephisto, and anything else that makes you want to get nerdy with it. And also, this is the first episode on our new home, The Box.
The Box.
The new live podcast and talk show network, actually. We got a whole bunch of the good things going for you. And we're bringing you the latest and greatest in news, and if it makes you feel nerdy, it's in the box. We are your hosts. I'm Xander.
And I'm Jagger, and tonight is our Loki episode 1 review. But first, the news.
Yes, we got to start off with the news.
The
what
news
we got for us?
First, always. First off, we have a chicken nugget shaped as one of the Among Us astronauts sells for $100,000. That is absurd. If anybody pays that much money for a chicken nugget, they're insane.
So I did an extensive 5-minute research on this, and I couldn't find the name of the guy, but I really want to know the name of this guy.
I want to be friends with him, sort of. Like, he owns a $100,000 chicken nugget.
What's his net worth? If he can go ahead and just buy that, oh, yep, I want it.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, I speculate that it's like a millennial or someone from Gen Z who owns a house, but they took out a second mortgage on their house just to be like, I want to buy this chicken nugget. Because
Jesus Christ. So now that you say that, I can see some fucking 18-year-old millionaire.
Yep.
That got lucky on fucking Bitcoin or some shit.
Yeah, he's like, I've got 10 Bitcoins, so I'm just gonna sell one. I'll buy a house and then I'll buy this chicken nugget because why not? I can.
How does it start though? Someone must have found it and just put it on eBay for $100,000 and it was just okay.
It started
I'll just put it as a joke.
It started as a meme. He got this chicken nugget and he was like, "Wow, it looks like one of the astronauts from Among Us. I'm gonna keep it in a glass case." So he had it preserved. So he like put it in one of those little shadow box things and was like, and everyone was like, "Dude, I want to buy this from you." So he's like, "All right, well, let's start the bidding." And he made an eBay posting for fun, and it got to $100,000.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's not nearly as bad as what the Jesus toast went for.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was like upward.
Jesus
That was
toast.
almost. I think that was almost $500,000.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I just want to pay off my debt.
Like people out here buying chicken nuggets for $100,000, and I'm just like, can I just get my car fixed, please?
Yeah. You guys wanna help me-
without crying and hurting.
Yeah, just help me pay off my credit card and my car payment. How about that? You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
What do we got
Absolutely.
next?
Christina Ricci has been officially cast in The Matrix 4, and
I'm curious about that.
I'm hype about it because like I'm just thinking of like, I mean, I can't help but think of like cursed era Christina Ricci, and I'm like, okay, her
not Adam's Family, Christina Ricci.
God, no. Maybe when I was younger, maybe, but no. But like cursed era where she was a young adult and thinking of her badassery and sass and wit in Matrix gear.
I'm curious as to who she would play.
It's probably gonna be a brand new character.
Yeah.
I feel like if they do it, it's probably gonna be some kind of a spin-off or playoff of Trinity.
Okay.
She's probably gonna be like related somehow.
Like an offspring, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know how many years after the Matrix 3 that the fourth one is taking place.
Yeah.
All I know is the only person I know officially attached to it from the original trilogy is Keanu Reeves.
But didn't he die? I can't remember.
No. If I remember correctly, the end of the third... I have to rewatch them. It's been so long. I believe he became one with the Matrix. But he still exists. So he's like... He basically became God.
Yeah, that's what I remember it being like, kind of like almost like a technological Jesus.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's exactly what the Wachowski brothers wanted. They were like, we're going to make our own superhero Jesus, but he's going to be a techno nerd.
Hey, it's a nerd thing. I'm all for it.
It's a nerd thing. It's in the box.
There you
go. Anthony Mackie stated in a recent interview that he could see himself playing Captain America for the next 6 to 8 years.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that he's so like just like gung ho about it, and he's just like, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'll do it.
I mean, think about it. When did Captain America: The First Avenger come out?
Oh, like 2010, 11.
So I mean, we got 11 years of Chris Evans, Steve Rogers.
And we've already gotten a few years out of Anthony Mackie as the Falcon, so.
Right. So I mean, now he's playing Captain America. We could definitely see a good 8-year run with him. A couple Avengers movies, some more solo films, maybe another season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know. It would be nice to see.
Let's see. We got actress Jamila Jamil from The Good Place, cast as the villain Titania in She-Hulk. That's gonna be interesting because if you've seen The Good Place, I don't see her as a villain whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Especially Titania. I've seen some. I don't know too much about Titania, but I've seen the photos, and Titania looks like a fucking powerhouse. So to have Jamila Jamil play that, it goes back on what I have said time and time again about what I would love to see with actors not being typecast and playing something completely different than what we're used to seeing. So that'd be interesting.
I mean, the thing is like with Titania, her alter ego, her human persona is Mary McFerrin, and Mary McFerrin is this very like feeble, short, scrawny kind of girl. I mean, like so much so that everyone called her Skeeter.
Okay.
Yeah. But then she basically became Titania, and became like this giant rage woman. So
that'd be interesting. And I mean, from what I've heard, they're kind of going sitcom-ish with She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Now I wonder if they're gonna. I wonder if they're gonna like try and lead that more into Secret Wars and do some more like spoilers for that, like some good Easter eggs to tease us into Secret Wars, or if they're gonna just go full sitcom and just be like, okay, the villain of this season is the Femizons.
Oh my god.
Just bring in Superia and all of them, just gung ho it into the sitcom realm and make the Femizons.
I mean, yeah, at the rate that they're moving, I wouldn't be surprised if they did some like big shit like that by the time we get to She-Hulk, which I don't even remember when that's supposed to come out. Is that like next year?
Next year. That's next year. It's on the slate for next year's shows.
Speaking of She-Hulk, there's also a rumor going around that they're going to introduce Scar, the son of the Hulk.
Which I don't know how they're gonna do that.
This will be interesting.
Yeah.
I completely see a moment where Scar shows up and he's just like, Dad! And new Professor Hulk is like, wait, what?
Ah!
And then we have like this weird like flashback scene of when he was in Sakaar and he hooked up with one of the locals.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how it's gonna have to go.
Oh my god, that's gonna be hilarious.
That's gonna be good. I think they should definitely do that.
Yeah. Let's see. A new set photo from what looks to be Thor: Love and Thunder, showing Chris Pratt's Star-Lord alongside Chris Hemsworth's Thor, seemingly confirming that we'll see the Guardians of the Galaxy in some capacity in Love and Thunder. This was kind of known or kind of expected after seeing the result of Endgame. And Thor being on their ship and whatnot. So it was expected, but it's nice to have like something seemingly confirmed.
Yeah, they kind of left themselves a little open on that one. They could have been they were kind of teasing either the Asgardians of the Galaxy, the Revengers.
Yeah.
They didn't know whether they were going to do the next Thor movie or the next Guardians movie first, so they didn't know who was going to be seen where. So you kind of have to have the Guardians in some capacity in Thor: Love and Thunder, even if they're just in the beginning.
Maybe they're dropping him off at New Asgard.
Maybe. Or maybe they just take him
how lame would that be?
No, they take him into deep space to do jazzercise for a couple years so that he can get completely ripped before he sees Jane again.
Oh yeah, true.
Meanwhile, Jane's become a powerlifter and is like #1 in the CrossFit leaderboards.
I still can't get over that first set photo of Natalie Portman where her arms are just jacked. Oh my god! And she's even walking like just like
she knows. She's just like, yes, muscles, please admire me. Exactly how she's walking.
Moving on from that, Charlie Hunnam is rumored to be cast as Johnny Cage in the sequel to Mortal Kombat. How do you feel about that?
I'm half and half about it. I think Charlie Hunnam definitely has the look, but I don't think Charlie Hunnam has the quick wit.
See, I would disagree. I would disagree with that because of his character that he portrayed in The Gentleman. Have you seen that one?
I have not, actually.
That one shed a whole new light on Charlie Hunnam for me. He was quick with it. That. He was... Oh my god, he was easily the best character in it. Even though Matthew McConaughey had some powerful spots, and even Colin Farrell, he was a close second because of his character. But you gotta watch that movie. That was like the first movie we watched of 2020, and my god, it was amazing. Like me and Jackie, we were it was like a date night movie. And we're like, oh, I've heard about this one. It might be good. And we're just like, oh my god. There's like twists and turns the entire time, like, and I believe it's developed by the same people that did Kingsman.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's been recommended to me a few times, but I just haven't sat down to watch it yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Guy Ritchie film. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but moving on from that, what do you got for us?
We have our first look at the new Flash chest logo. Director Andy Muschietti gave us our first teaser look at the logo, and it looks so good. They brightened the red. They
Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it.
Yeah, so they pulled up, they pulled out like more of like the techie look that we've grown to know from like the Flash comic books. It blends the Zack Snyder style a little bit better with like what DC wants to do. I think it looks great. I'm a fan of it. Here.
Yeah, the tech part that's the first thing I actually noticed, like the actual on the red spot. Because weren't they suggesting that they're gonna move more towards like an actual like fabric-ish kind of suit?
Yes. So the idea is they're trying to keep what's already been done in the DC Extended Universe a thing. So the way they built the relationship between Barry Allen and Bruce Wayne, Bruce was basically helping him fix the problems with his suit, where his suit now is like armor. He wants more of like a lycra type fabric that can just kind of hug his body and support him as he goes. It makes him more lightweight, gives him more control. But I especially like the fact that the logo doesn't look too cheesy, like the actual like gold on white lightning bolt. That's my biggest complaint about the CW Flash, is like the logo on the suit just looks a little too Halloween
booky?
Superstore. No, it looks a little too Halloween for me. Like it looks like it should be some child's Halloween costume, not a hero's suit. Which I get.
Yeah, I can see that.
See, it kind of looks just like a sticker pasted on there. The rest of the suit, I like. I'm a fan of it. It fits Grant Gustin well. The only complaint I have is the logo, and I've had an issue with the logo since the beginning of the show.
Well, this is the newer one, right? Like he started out with this burgundy almost, and then
he started out with the burgundy and the red on gold logo, and then they eventually changed it to that same suit but with the white background, and then they changed it to the brighter red suit after like season 4, I think. Like season 5 they gave him a new suit. So like the transformations they made
early on with that.
I'm still going, and I don't know. But speaking of Grant Gustin's Flash, they're saying that he's actually going to appear as a cameo in the 2022 Flash film. So I'm thinking it's kind of like repaying the favor of when Ezra Miller was on Crisis on Infinite Earths and that whole crossover, confirming that the Arrowverse and the DC Extended Universe are the same thing. I mean, the Crisis crossover event basically confirmed that everything that DC's ever made, including like Smallville and the old school Flash TV shows and all that stuff, they're all canon, and they all exist on the infinite Earths of the multiverse. But now they're saying all of those Earths are gone. There's only Earth Prime because of Crisis. So we no longer have to travel between dimensions to go see these characters. Like Supergirl can kind of just fly in. Superman and Lois exist on this Earth because there's only one Earth. They tried to fix all their shit, and they did a good job of it. But all of the other shows after that kind of took a big nosedive after that event.
Unfortunate. I hope that doesn't happen with Marvel.
I hope so too. I really hope Marvel doesn't get too big for their britches.
Yeah. Which like at this point, like the way they're building up, that's my biggest fear is like how high can you go before you touch the sun? You know?
I mean, they already aimed pretty high when they started out, like right out the gate. They're like, okay, we're gonna connect all these movies. We're gonna do the Infinity Saga. One of the biggest storylines in Marvel history, and they did it well. Yeah. Now they've announced basically that the next saga they're doing is Secret Wars, which is bigger than the Infinity Saga.
Well, they're alluding to Secret Wars. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Well, the Secret Wars movie was announced.
No, that's Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, okay. Secret Invasion, and that was going to be a series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm all but expecting a Secret Wars movie.
Yeah.
But I digress.
And this isn't necessarily in the notes either, but on the subject matter of multiverse and infinite Earths and whatnot, I actually read recently that cosmologists have located supposedly a giant arc galaxy like 3 billion light years away, and they're saying that if they can confirm this, this would break everything that they currently know about cosmology and like the actual like science behind it all. Because as of right now, and this is like the dumbed down version of it, because I'm dumb myself and I had to figure out a way that makes sense to me. So essentially they had this one way of thinking of how the universe works, and everything is like, what did they say? It was like everything's isotopic and homogeneous and blah, 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 blah. But the seeing this great arc of galaxies far outside of the original scope of what we could see, this is basically 3 times the size of any other galaxy that we've come across so far. So now they're just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. Wow.
So and it's baffling to me that there are people out there that still say like, yeah, there's no life outside of our galaxy.
There's no way. There's no possible way.
For as large as the universe is, like I'm sitting here thinking there's definitely a multiverse. There's got to be a parallel dimension to us. There's a fucking there's a fucking dark timeline version of me with a fucking goatee somewhere.
You wish. Your evil counterpart.
We are the darkest timeline.
Your evil counterpart still can't grow a goatee.
I'm glad the music stopped playing, because now we can just have a moment of silence with that.
I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Moving on. Kevin Bacon has come out of the woodworks, and he's being cast as the villain of the Toxic Avenger project. It hasn't been confirmed whether it's actually a movie or a series yet. This
is actually the first I'm hearing of the Toxic Avenger.
They're just they're remaking the Toxic Avenger. But Kevin Bacon's gonna be the villain, and we all know how well Kevin Bacon can play villain.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the only good thing about X-Men First Class.
Yeah. I actually, whenever I think of him as a villain, though, I immediately go back to the Invisible Man.
Oh, Hollow Man? Yeah.
Yeah, Hollow Man.
That's a good one too. So
that was a classic for me. I saw that when I was like, I don't know, maybe 8. Was the first time I saw that.
Every time I watch that movie, I always want Twinkies. Every time. It's awful. I hate it.
Oh man. Let's see here. Oh, last bit of news. A little bit of Star Warsy news. We got rumors that the fallen Jedi Barriss Offee will be appearing in the Ahsoka series. The casting is reportedly still underway, and they are in search of an Asian woman in her 20s to 30s to portray the role. I'm gonna say it right now, Gemma Chan. She's been in everything so far that Disney's touched. They had her in Captain Marvel, and they liked her so much that they wanted to bring her as a main character in the Eternals. Why not bring her into the Disney Plus space? And
I say bring her into Star Wars fold. I mean, why not? Speaking of castings, before we get into Loki, I wanted to ask you, because it's going around TikTok really heavily right now.
Okay.
Everyone's trying to cast Galactus.
Oh, Galactus casting.
Galactus casting, and everyone is saying the exact same thing, and I'm tired of seeing the same casting over and over again because I don't like it. So before I say what it is, I want to know who you would cast as Galactus.
Who I would cast as Galactus? If he were still alive, I would say Alan Rickman.
Okay.
Because I feel like he has that voice and that just like that air of mystery, and like basically if they go like straight up like giant purple get up Galactus, all they really need is his face. He doesn't need to be in shape or anything like that.
Right. I mean, even you don't even have to have an actor that looks like him, because he can be. I mean, you had Dormammu, who didn't even have a shape.
Exactly.
And they had a voice.
So
I mean,
so
a lot of that's where most of the casting is coming from. Is just people's voices.
Yeah, so I would, if he were still alive, Alan Rickman, but unfortunately, since that's not plausible, I would probably say his son, quote unquote, Jeremy Irons.
Ooh.
I'm a huge Die Hard fan, by the way.
I didn't even think of Jeremy Irons. How did I not think of Jeremy?
Right?
I feel done. Okay, I'm gonna change my casting now. Okay, so the big casting that's going around on TikTok is everyone's saying James Earl Jones. And I don't like it. Everyone's saying that James Earl Jones should be Galactus mainly because
Darth Vader
and his deep voice. And I'm like, I honestly think with a character as big as Galactus, you need somebody younger with a deep voice to play him. Someone who can at least play him for the next, like, I don't know how many years. Because, I mean, imagine you cast James Earl Jones as Galactus. He does a phenomenal job doing one teaser and then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to think about Darth Vader dying, but, you know, like...
Yeah, realistically, he is getting old of age.
Right, and he's not doing as many projects anymore. Mm-hmm. He's slowing down his acting career a lot. Well, the last project...
The last one he did was the Lion King reboot, right?
Yeah, and he didn't even do that much in it. He only had a handful of vocal roles. So, yeah. I mean, my casting was John DiMaggio.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Either that or Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah.
I'd like either of them as voice actors to do it, but honestly, Jeremy Irons would be phenomenal.
I don't know why my brain just went there. I was like, imagine Ving Rhames as Galactus.
There it is. There's the moment.
I'm just like my mind just went there. And I was just like,
one every podcast.
I sent the Silver Surfer to warn all you that I'm going to be eating your planet.
Go, my herald, find me a planet to eat. I hunger.
Can we please have someone who's a much better voice actor than me do Ving Rhames as Galactus? I want to see that.
Jesus. I mean, if you want Gilbert Gottfried as Galactus, I got you. But Ving Rhames, not really.
So we could do like a Ving Rhames as Galactus, but in the style of Robot Chicken.
Oh my God. Nope. Here we go. Ving Rhames as Galactus. Gilbert Gottfried is the Silver Surfer. It's happening.
Oh my God. This is hilarious. I love it. All right. Well, that about wraps up the news.
That wraps up our news.
It was a pretty short news week.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised because like
a lot of focus was on E3 this week. We got a few big things we got was because of Nerd Week, but I know they're waiting for con season to start announcing really big major things.
Yeah. So news is probably going to slow up a little bit. Oh, that actually brings up. What if they're waiting for Comic-Con to release the Spider-Man trailer?
When is Comic-Con is the question.
That just hit me. I don't even know why I didn't think about that.
I mean, it makes sense. San Diego Comic-Con is Friday, July 23rd to the 25th. No in-person attendance, but...
Oh, look at that. And guess what? I'll be in town. So we could watch it together. We
could.
I mean, let's see, the 23rd. 23rd is the Friday. Okay,
Didn't we say we were going to do our cook-off on the 24th?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So yeah, we're looking at the 24th. So we could watch it the 23rd, freak out about it, text each other, and then the next day, while we're trying to beat each other at barbecuing, we can watch it and cry about it.
Yeah. There we go.
But yeah, so that wraps up the news. So now we are going to go into our Loki episode 1 review. So if you haven't seen Loki yet, this is your spoiler alert. You have been warned. We are going to go full spoilers on this because we're going to do a brief overview of the episode. So basically it starts out 2012, right, Jagger?
Yeah, it starts out directly after Loki. It basically in the middle of the time heist where they biff it. They drop the Tesseract. Loki picks it up, disappears through the portal, and then they show where he goes. He goes into the desert. He shows up in the middle of the Gobi Desert, and very swiftly after that, after he realizes that he's now free of being captured and taken back to Asgard, the TVA show up and just take him hostage.
Mm-hmm.
And they apprehend him and they say, okay, you've messed with things too much. And they kind of go through a little bit of an explanation of what the TVA is, but they're being very cryptic about it. They're keeping things very, very hush hush right now because I think there's something more behind the TVA.
I think so too, especially with all the propaganda that you see in the facility.
Oh, not even
It's
not even just the
very
propaganda in the facility, the propaganda on like our social media.
Mhm.
Miss Minutes, the clock, has a
Yeah.
Twitter account, and she's been
Does she
posting
really?
cryptic messages for people to decode, and people are like actually spending time decoding them.
I did not know this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Hold on, I'm gonna you go you carry on. I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Okay, so they bring Loki to the TVA, and they're like, okay, they go through all the jokes and things that they have to get through. It's like, here, sign this, certifying this is everything you've ever said. They do that whole thing. They definitely establish that this Loki is not the Loki that everybody came to love. This is the Loki directly after Avengers, where he's getting ready to serve a life sentence. So Thor 2 never happened, Infinity War never happened, Endgame never happened for him. You may have to scroll down some more. Trying to see.
Keep your eyes on those timelines, chrono monitors. Don't want another multiversal war.
Yeah. So what was I saying?
You left off where he was checking in.
Right. So they check him in. They give the whole spiel about how the timeline is and how there was a multiversal war in the past, and the timekeepers fix that. The three main timekeepers, which are basically the Watchers.
Mhm.
So the long and short of it is they're the Watchers, and they created the sacred timeline, which is our mainstream flow of time in the MCU. They also confirm, because a lot of people were asking, like, if Loki taking the Tesseract was a breach of the TVA, why aren't the Avengers on trial for that shit? They're saying that the things that happened with the Avengers were already supposed to happen. They were supposed to drop the case. They were supposed to have to go back in time more and get the Tesseract from the military base in the 70s. But the only thing that wasn't supposed to happen there was Loki was not supposed to pick up the Tesseract. That's the only abnormality of that timeline where they start messing with time. Everything else was destined to happen. That was supposed to happen.
Mhm.
The big reveal that we got from this is that the Infinity Stones are essentially useless.
At least in this space.
In this space, the Infinity Stones are useless. They use them as paperweights.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only powerful in the sacred timeline, because once they start branching off into other realities, they don't matter.
Right.
So like apparently them removing one stone makes the other stones less powerful. So all the ones that they've collected at the TVA are essentially just rocks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting to see, because I want to see them expand on that a little bit more and see why is there a difference between our Infinity Stones in the sacred timeline and those Infinity Stones from the side timelines. What's the difference there?
Yeah. I want to backtrack real quick. So you mentioned that it kind of explains that everything that happened in Endgame was supposed to happen. But technically that kind of contradicts itself in a way.
What do you mean?
So if everything was supposed to happen, you know, them going back to 2012 to get the Tesseract, failing, and then going back to the 1970 to get the Tesseract again, and that was all supposed to happen, then technically Loki branching off was also supposed to happen.
Well, that's the speculation. They're thinking that they're telling him that he breached the rules, but he actually didn't, because there's another variant. So I have to kind of reveal more about the episode before I could talk about my theory. So they reveal later in the episode, Agent Mobius basically tells him that the variant that they're hunting is Loki, but they don't ever actually show what the variant looks like. So we don't know if this is actually Loki. Is this someone disguised as Loki? Is this just another like alternate version of Loki? I'd like to think that it's Lady Loki. But so they explain that they need him to hunt himself, basically. So I'm thinking that maybe the TVA is just kind of pulling some shady shit, like, you breached the timeline because we said you did, because we need your help to stop yourself. but your variant self from another timeline that you caused but didn't cause. So I think someone in the TVA fucked up somewhere, and I think it's them trying to cover their asses.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the government conspiracy theorist in me.
So I'll agree with you to a certain level. I don't think that the TVA kind of orchestrated the fact that they need this Loki to help them. This is all Mobius. That is all on Mobius trying to get Loki's help, because you have Hunter B15 who's completely against it. You have the judge. I forget her name. Was it Renslayer?
I don't remember.
No. The judge that's there, she was completely against it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that the TVA doesn't really give a shit about this variant of Loki. It's just Mobius. But I do agree that everything so far has been super sketch about the TVA.
Yeah.
That I think, and this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I think I posted it in Discord, and I think I talked to you about it briefly when I saw Loki, but there's a cartoonized, like, you know, Jetsons Family style cartoon of the explanation that Miss Minutes gives on what the TVA is and how they came to be, and the whole sacred timeline and timekeepers. But if you pay attention to the timekeepers, the timekeeper that's supposed to be, I believe their name was Asta, that timekeeper bears a heavy resemblance to Jonathan Majors, who has been confirmed to be cast as Kang. My theory is that, and we're kind of jumping all over the place, but we're you know, at this point we're just kind of having fun talking about it.
Yep, as we normally do.
Yeah. My theory is that Kang fucked up somehow in some capacity, and is now trying to do some shit to, you know, like trying to manipulate things and trying to orchestrate things to try and cover his ass. And I'm assuming that by the end of the series, they're gonna find out. There's gonna be this team up. You got Hunter B15, you got Mobius, you got Loki, you got Lady Loki, and they're teaming up against Kang. And then finally they win, and he is exiled from the TVA. And then and where is he exiled to? He's exiled to the quantum realm. And that will lead into Ant-Man Quantumania.
Okay, I can see it.
End scene. That's my theory.
Also, another nice little fun Easter egg that we noticed is that Agent Mobius is also named for the solution to the time GPS that Tony Stark figures out in Endgame.
Yeah, the Mobius strip.
The Mobius strip, inverted. So either, I don't know if that's just a callback or if that's all by design. Sometimes Marvel just does some nice little happy accidents. No idea.
They secretly got the spirit of Bob Ross on their side.
Right. Some more things that I definitely wanted to mention. Everyone online is freaking out about the stained glass window. Oh
yes, the stained glass window, which everyone was freaking out about that before WandaVision even came out. That's what set the Mephisto theories ablaze.
Yeah, and it's not Mephisto. I'll tell you that right now. It's not. That is the traditional depiction of Loki before he gives birth to his child in actual Norse mythology.
Yep,
it's literally all it is.
And just so we can set the record straight, who is his child, Jagger?
Which one?
Children.
There are a couple. He has children. Yeah. Everybody can just get over this now. Loki is gender fluid. Loki turns himself into a female horse, gives birth to a six-legged horse named Sleipnir. He's also the father of Fenrir, whom we've already seen die in the MCU, so that's not accurate. The giant wolf. And Jormungandr. World Serpent.
What about the big one? He's also father to Hela, isn't he?
Yeah, in Norse mythology, he's the father of Hel. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was just like,
well, father and mother. He kind of birthed himself.
Yeah.
It's weird. Loki's a mystery there.
Yeah. But no, I thought that was kind of a nice little tidbit of knowledge there, because like when we're watching, you know, Thor Ragnarok and stuff like that, and it's just like,
yeah,
Hela's his sister. and yet they bear strong resemblance to one another. So I feel like it's I think that's kind of a nod to the original Norse mythology there.
Well, I'm sort of thinking, and what I'm kind of hoping. So there's been those nods, but also with Loki being now basically he basically exists out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe there were other time variants of Loki that existed in the past. So Hela is actually a daughter of Loki, but a different Loki, like a variant of Loki. Same thing with Fenrir.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
It's an interesting theory. I doubt they're gonna go that far to try and connect the dots with Loki, but
that I feel like that if they were to pull that off right in such a engaging story to really capture the audience, it would have to be like Game of Thrones meets Back to the Future kind of deal. Like
kind of, yeah.
Like I would need some Game of Thrones level like storytelling with that.
Yeah.
To be really convinced.
I mean, they could go the Doctor Who route and just kind of throw everything at you. And it's like, okay, well, we're just going to have this fast-talking British man explain everything to you, and you're going to get it. Got it? Good. Let's go. I just explained the entire plot of every season of Doctor Who. You're welcome.
I've never seen a single episode.
Don't.
That's weird because I've actually contemplated watching it, and I was just like,
It'll either suck you in or you'll hate it.
Oh, okay.
One of the two. There is no in between. There is no kind of liking Doctor Who. You'll either love it and buy a sonic screwdriver the next week, or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah. But backtracking a little bit, going back to the actual episode overview
back to
itself.
Loki.
So there was a big thing that we were concerned about is that, you know, Loki had become such a fan favorite, mostly due to his character development. And the big fear was that, okay, we're getting 2012 Loki, the one that, you know, he gouged the guy's eyes out, smiling about it. He run amok, to put lightly, on New York City. And so, you know, we're faced with the villain Loki again, not the anti-hero Loki.
Exactly.
But they kind of expedite that in a sense.
Yeah, they totally nipped that in the bud in the first episode. It's just like, okay, they definitely took the 51st States route. It's like, here's everything you've missed, Loki. Here's your character development on a film reel. Watch this and let's fix our plot hole. Yeah,
so they get to a point where Mobius was trying to get to what makes Loki tick, showing him these scenes of the things that he's done, blah 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 blah. And then, you know, a little game of cat and mouse ensues, and then he finally finds himself back in that room, and he decides to watch his entire life right before his eyes. And it kind of pushes forward that whole character development where he sees the events of Thor: The Dark World, where he inadvertently gets his mother killed. He sees you know, the events of Thor Ragnarok, and then finally in Infinity War where he dies trying to you know, stand up for him and his brother, and then, you know, his, you know, Thor just sitting there crying over his dead body. And I think seeing all this pushes Loki to the point where I think I might actually like this version of Loki better than the version of Loki that we had towards Infinity War. Because this is the first version of Loki, and this is another thing that I've loved about every Disney Plus show so far, is that it really gets to the human aspect of all of these characters, like the mental health side of things, where this is the first time Loki has openly admitted, you know, why do you do these things? Well, it is an illusion created by the weak to instill fear in a desperate attempt at control. And the fact that this version of Loki was actually open about that and was able to admit that to someone he just met. I feel like this version of Loki is going to be probably the best version of Loki that we've seen thus far.
Well, this version of Loki is complicated. He's conflicted. He's like, I just finished trying to conquer New York for my master Thanos. Like, he thinks that he's loyal, he should be loyal to Thanos because Thanos is loyal to him.
And,
and then he
he
sees
is
all the things
burdened
that
with
happen.
glorious purpose.
He's burdened with glorious purpose, and then he sees Thanos just snap his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be jarring for him. And then he sees all the things that happen afterwards. Like, okay, if I didn't pick up the Tesseract, I would have gone and served a life sentence in Asgard. Thor would have got me out. I would have sacrificed myself, blah, blah, blah. I would have pretended to be my dad, etc., etc. Like, all these things that he would have done that he didn't think he was capable of doing, because at this time, he's coming hot off the heels of Thor 1, where he finds out he's not Asgardian. He's a frost giant. Straight into teaming up with Thanos, doing his bidding, getting the Mind Scepter, all that jazz, failing to conquer New York in the name of Thanos, and then his mom dying, all of that stuff. He sees that right before his eyes, and it like conflicts him because he's still in that mindset of, I'm gonna fix things and I'm gonna be better.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna conquer this world because I have to. But now he sees all the things that he did in his normal timeline, in the sacred timeline, as they're saying. It's like the way it's supposed to be, like, supposed to happen. And he's confused, as well as he well should be. And I like that. I like that they're giving him more depth. Loki was very two-dimensional to me for the longest time. Like, I didn't like Loki in a lot of the films because I was like, okay, he's Loki, he's a trickster. Yeah, let's team up with Loki. Oh, he's gonna stab you in the back. Oh wow, what a surprise! Not surprising at all. He was very two-dimensional. He's very cut and dry.
Well, I would say he was very two-dimensional up until Thor Ragnarok, because you could see like the little kind of glimpses of humanity in him, especially like, you know, when Odin passes away.
Yeah,
like
Thor Ragnarok definitely. I mean, we can't really say too much about Thor Ragnarok because Thor Ragnarok basically revived the entire lore behind Thor.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
there's a reason why Taika Waititi was returned as a director.
Exactly.
I would not be surprised if Taika Waititi ended up being like the next Russo brothers.
I could see it. I could see him trying to do an Avengers film, but I think he should. Honestly, I think he should stick with the more fun projects.
Yeah.
Like Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, give him shit like that.
Then
I wouldn't put him on an Avengers film.
This goes along with what I say about actors. I would love to see him take on a serious film.
Yeah, I would start him out on something different because the scope of the Avengers films now, after Infinity War and Endgame, by the time we build up to the next one, it's gonna be big.
Yeah.
I mean, they might need a team of directors. I mean, put the Russo brothers and Taika Waititi on the project to just say, hey, have fun, work together.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like Taika Waititi has the chops for it, mainly because he's able, like, so far from what we've seen, we see a lot of lighthearted stuff, but deeply rooted within that lighthearted stuff is some heavy shit. Like, again, going back to Thor Ragnarok, just think about it for a second, you know? He just found out that he has a sister just after his dad dies, and then the one thing that his entire life basically has affirmed him that he is this powerful being, this strong entity in the universe, was destroyed. Like that. All that happening, like, that's a lot of heavy shit. Building off of that, you have Jojo Rabbit, which I don't know if anyone has seen it yet. I'll go ahead and give another spoiler alert, just because the initial spoiler alert was not for Jojo Rabbit. It was for Loki. But if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, there is a lot of heavy shit in that, which I was not expecting. Like,
I give a lot of credit for Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, like there's some heavy shit there. So yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like Taika Waititi could easily take on a serious Marvel movie in the future.
Yeah, I can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm thinking now's not the right time for it. Yeah. I think give it a little bit more time. I couldn't see it now. I want to see what he does with Thor: Love and Thunder, because if it's more of that like 80s flare, let me throw a bright white blazer over top of a t-shirt kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll see, because I think if he does a very good job of blending some of the heavy shit that happened,
Mm-hmm.
like Thor recovering mentally from what happened in Endgame and how he was by the time they found him again,
Mm-hmm.
like him recovering out of that needs to be explored. If they can get into that while still keeping it lighthearted and fun, yeah,
I have a feeling he's gonna go Jojo Rabbit on this one, in a sense,
Probably.
to where it starts off kind of zany, kind of wild, a little kooky, and then like towards like the halfway through, it's like, oh shit. There's gonna be an oh shit moment, because based on what we know as comic book nerds and the route that they're going, there's gonna be a lot of crazy shit happening, more so than in the Infinity Saga. The stakes are so much higher.
Well,
So
and that, and the fact that Thor is the last of the original 3 that's still alive.
yeah,
The only people who are still active and alive from the original Avengers lineup are Thor, Hulk, and Hawkeye.
mm-hmm.
That's it. Everyone else is either dead or retired.
Or quote unquote on the moon.
Or on the moon, whatever.
Which sorry, I dropped something. I actually think that would be kind of a cool idea. Like, what if the rumors were true? Steve Rogers is actually on a moon base as a part of SWORD, but guess what? It's Old Man Cap.
I mean, they could do it. I don't really want them to.
I think
it'd be. They already have so much going on, and I think if they don't play on some of the fan theories that have been going on, and they do that, it'll disappoint people.
I think it'd be kind of a cool nod, honestly. Like in the Marvels film, they end up going to like the SWORD headquarters or whatever, and there's like a base orbiting the moon, or something like that. And then you have because like Chris Evans at this point is kind of like, he's like, or we already think that he's out the door, but they might be able to coerce him into coming back for one more small role, and then you have like a brief moment with him, like he runs shit up here now.
Yeah,
and
possibility.
Then moving on from that, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. So getting back to Loki, I think it's too early to tell, like how the show's gonna go.
Yeah.
Because they spent a lot of time world building on this one, on this first episode. They were like, okay, here's the TVA, here's how they work, here's how the timelines are explained. Here's explaining Infinity Stones. Here's correcting Loki's personality trait. Okay, and here is the problem that we need to solve. Roll credits. You didn't have much time to kind of think, okay, well, what do I want to see? What do I want them to do? There's no there's a hook to bring it back, because it's like they say that they're hunting another Loki variant. Who is this Loki variant? What is it? Is it actually a Loki variant? Is it something else? How did that come to be? That kind of deal. But there's no okay, they set this in motion and I want them to go here. They haven't really set anything in motion yet. But I'm still extremely interested to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand by my current theory right now, where I think Kang is actually Asta in the Timekeepers. I think he fucked something up, and he's kind of manipulating things to try and hide all this shit. That's why there's all this propaganda. I think there's something going on with the TVA there, and I think this variant of Loki, and I am a firm believer that it is Lady Loki. I think she knows what happened. I think she knows what happened, and Mobius, I think he's actually good, but in the sense that he will do anything for his job, like a good worker, but he was appointed directly by Kang, quote, or Asta, whatever they choose to call him at first, and eventually it's gonna unfold that because the one thing that gets me is that, so there, in the previous trailers we've seen, or actually it might just be like leaked photos, but we've seen Loki sitting in what looks like the same planet that the Soul Stone was from. It starts with a V, I think.
Vormir.
I think it's Vormir, but I could be wrong. It just could be like the same coloration.
Right.
But I think that's going to be a point where Lady Loki explains everything to Loki, and then they devise a plan to get Kang kicked out of the TVA and banished to the quantum realm, leading into Ant-Man Quantumania. That's my running theory right now.
I mean, it's an interesting theory. This is definitely supposed to be more of the mystical side of things, so we can really expect anything to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm remaining open. I don't really have any theories of what they're gonna do story-wise yet.
The big thing is today is Tuesday. Loki comes out on Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yep. So we'll have episode 2
3
tomorrow.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I confirmed that. So if you are a crazy person and likes to stay up until 3 in the morning, or if you just wake up at like 4 in the morning to have like an hour to get ready for work and you decide to put it on while you're getting ready for work, good for you. I'm going to continue to wake up at 6:30.
I will be already at work at 6.
But on that note, Loki does air tomorrow. Loki episode 2. So we'll see maybe if any of our theories or anything that we have said has any validity tomorrow or not. They might just play the WandaVision game and just keep us guessing.
I think if they play anything like the rest of the shows, we probably won't get any big major plot details until end of episode 2, middle of episode 3. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Is we're gonna get some major bombs, and then it's gonna like really come to a head in episode 5, and then 6.
I would say probably the final scenes in episode 2 and all of episode 3 will be a big thing because we have 6 episodes to work with. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
Yep.
Or the next week. Or the next week. Anyway, thank you for joining us today, guys. Tune in next week for some more news and our continued coverage of Loki. If there are any topics you'd like to see us cover on this channel, please leave a suggestion in the comments down below. And if you enjoy what we're doing here and would like to help support us, please like, share, and subscribe our videos in our channel. Both Jagger and I also stream on Twitch, so be sure to follow us there. And also, now that we are on the Box Network, we have a plethora of different talk shows that we're going to be doing. The first new show that we have lined up is Jagger's new show, or I should point this way. Jagger's new show, Cursed Tapes.
The wrong way.
You want to tell the people about Cursed Tapes?
Yeah, so Cursed Tapes it's actually an idea I've had for many years. I've wanted to do a horror show for a long time, and I finally have a place to do that. So I'm going to be covering horror movies, horror games, horror game expansions, books, creepypastas, you name it. It's going to be a crazy fun ride. I have a few really awesome guests lined up for some shows, which I can't announce yet, but those announcements are coming. First, we're starting out with some video game news in our first episode on the 24th.
Yeah, I believe it was the 24th.
Or is it the 24th? I can remember if it's the 24th, 28th. So 24th, we're going to be covering the newest chapter of Dead by Daylight, the Resident Evil chapter, which is a big release for them. And I'll be covering that with a fellow Twitch streamer, Emac401. He's a good friend of mine. Dead by Daylight main, like that's what he plays all the time. So we're going to be reviewing everything in that pack and kind of speculating what we're going to see next from Dead by Daylight.
So there you have it, folks. We got another episode of Comic Relief that Tuesday, and then we got Cursed Tapes that Thursday. Following that, we got a couple of other shows lined up, so stay tuned for that. But I hope you all have a great night, and stay nerdy, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.